Good evening and welcome to this first in-person board meeting of the Board of School Directors of the School District of Springfield Township. And we will stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And just before we read the mission statement, there are two sign-up sheets for those who are in person. There are two sign-up sheets, one for the public comments on agenda items, which will be in a few minutes. And the next one, the second sheet is for public comments on non-agenda items, which is at the end of the board meeting. Mr. DeFranco, will you please read the mission statement?
Absolutely. The mission of the School District of Springfield Township is to educate and develop all students as learners and citizens who are high achieving, resilient, and responsible in a changing global community.
Roll call.
Mr. Bedard.
Here.
Mr. DeFranco.
Here.
Dr. Utlin. Ms. Jordan.
Here.
Mr. Lapidus.
Here.
Mr. Needleman.
Here.
Ms. Sarsfield.
Here.
Ms. Lipinski.
Here.
Dr. Taratusky.
Here. Announcements. Excuse me. The board at its discretion may videotape all or any portion of public board meetings subject to the limitations set forth in policy 006.2, broadcasting of meetings. Board meetings will be broadcast on Friday afternoon following the board meeting. And this is the first of our public comment periods. If anyone is signed up or anyone on the call would like to speak on agenda items, please use the hand raise feature. And if you're called on, you can state where you live in the township. So are there any public comments on agenda items at this time? Did we have a sign up? Okay.
I don't know if I signed up for the right thing.
Okay. Is it regarding an item on the agenda currently?
I don't have the agenda, so I don't know what it is.
Okay, there is an agenda actually, and there should be an agenda there. If there's not, please let us know and we'll get you one. You can. Give them 2 minutes to review the agenda. We can also take your comment at the end if you'd like.
Yeah, just do that.
That's fine, sure. That's okay. Okay, seeing no comments, we'll move to the approval of minutes. April 6th, 2021 interim meeting board minutes Q and April 20th, 2021 regular meeting board minutes R. Is there a motion?
Motion.
And a second?
Second.
Any comments or questions? Ms. Michaels?
Mr. Bedard.
Aye.
Mr. DeFranco.
Aye.
Ms. Jordan.
Aye.
Mr. Lapidus.
Aye.
Mr. Needleman.
Aye.
Ms. Sarsfield.
Aye.
Ms. Lipinski.
Aye.
Dr. Taratusky.
Aye. Approval of the treasurer's report. Treasurer's report I. Is there a motion?
Motion.
And a second?
Second.
Any comments or questions? Michael?
Mr. Bedard.
Aye.
Mr. DeFranco.
Aye.
Ms. Jordan.
Aye.
Mr. Lapidus.
Aye.
Mr. Needleman.
Aye.
Ms. Sarsfield.
Aye.
Ms. Lipinski.
Aye.
Dr. Taratusky.
Aye. Number 1, recognitions and awards. We will have the Giant Feeding School Kids donation. Dr. Yanko?
Thank you, Dr. Karatusky. I'm going to invite our guests to come on up to the table. We are delighted to announce that the Giant Feeding School Kids program was a tremendous success. To help address food insecurity among students, the Giant Company introduced a customer giving initiative to assist local public schools in the communities it serves. This initiative, aimed at addressing the pervasive issue of childhood hunger, enables school districts to use the funds to best serve their community and can be used to support meal programs such as covering outstanding student meal debt, excuse me, expanding food distribution programs, and building on-campus food pantries. Every time families shopped at our local Giant, they were given the opportunity to round up their total at the register and donate the odd change. Those donations really added up, as between January 4th and February 28th, the Giant Company matched customer donations. Our district tonight is being awarded $16,544.27. Please welcome Mrs. Shannon Weigert and Mrs. Chrissy Nesbitt, our local Giant store representatives, who will present the check. Thank you to Giant and our representatives for this generous donation, which will help us combat food insecurity for our families.
Hello, my name is Shannon Weigert, and I'm the store manager from your local Giant Flower Town. I am proud to be here today and would like to thank you for participating in our Feeding School Kids program. We are so proud to partner with you. We are honored to play an active role in our community by partnering with Springfield High School to fight hunger. No child should be hungry or wonder where their next meal is coming from. Through our new Feeding School Kids initiative, the Giant Company and our customers raised more than $3 million to address the issue of childhood hunger throughout local public school districts through the communities we serve. Whether rounding up their grocery purchase to the nearest dollar or converting their choice points into a donation for their local public schools food programs, our community really came together to support the kids. And the Giant Company was proud to match the first $1.5 million donated by our customers. Thanks to the school administration, teachers, program coordinators, and our dedicated and loyal customers, today I am pleased to present $16,544.27. We can't wait to see these funds in action and put us one step closer into ending hunger in our communities. Thanks to everyone on behalf of us, and we wish you a safe and happy summer.
Thank you so much on behalf of the board and on behalf of the district. We greatly appreciate this generous donation. Thank you again.
We wish you could see these big smiles behind the mask. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's really wonderful.
Okay, number 2, District PTA report, EEHSP, STSHSP, Amy Hughley.
Thank you, everybody, for the opportunity to just update you on what's going on with the 2 home and school partnerships. So we're happy to announce that for the remainder of this school year and into next school year, the secondary HSP is going to serve as a committee under the EHSP. The EHSP and the secondary HSP are thrilled about this and think it's an excellent step towards figuring out how to best operate to better serve the whole school community. Some of the benefits from the 2 HSPs aligning are: we get to share expenses. It creates a pipeline for parents to volunteer and stay involved in the HSP from elementary through secondary. If we can cross-promote the HSP events hosted by the elementary, secondary, and the MPA to the school community. It provides an opportunities for family to gain exposure to all our schools and to understand the benefits of keeping their students in our school district from K to 12. We can explore opportunities for secondary students to get involved with elementary events and possibly gain some experience in academic credits for doing this. And it helps us to come together to strengthen our school spirit in our community. Also, serving as a committee under the EHSP, the secondary HSP will have the ability to utilize the EHSP's 501c3 status to continue to fundraise to support initiatives such as middle and high school mini grants, special events and programs, and to sponsor the 8th and 12th grade graduation awards. We will operate as we have with our standing monthly general meeting and committees, but are excited that we will be hosting 2 district-wide community meetings in the fall and the spring to help the entire district community come together to share what's going on at each level so that we can all be informed and identify ways to support one another. Beginning next year, the EHSP and secondary HSP will collectively evaluate whether it's best for the secondary HSP to remain as a committee or to create a district-wide home and school partnership with an EHSP leg and a secondary HSP leg, working side by side underneath the big umbrella of an HSP. In other news, we are happy to share that the secondary community has responded generously to help with funds to sponsor the 8th grade and 12th grade awards and a staff appreciation event at the middle school and high school. We raised a little over $4,000, all of which is being collected and managed by the EHSP. Our committee, led by Ann Gozzard and Kim Briggs, is organizing the staff appreciation event, which will include staff at the middle school and high school, as well as facilities and administration building. We want to show our appreciation for the extraordinary efforts made this year. In other news, we are also partnering with the MPA and the EHSP and the school district to promote a town hall meeting with the school community and the Cheltenham branch of the NAACP Youth Leadership Committee. This will take place on Wednesday, May 19th at 7 p.m. Links to pre-register for this event are on the EHSP, STS, HSP, and MPA Facebook pages. We are also thrilled that Keisha Bronson and Naeem Moore have volunteered to help lead the secondary HSP next year. Both have extensive experience leading the EHSP, so they will be an invaluable addition to the secondary HSP next year. Our next STS HSP meeting will be on Thursday, May 20th at 7 p.m. You must pre-register for this meeting. The registration link was included in the middle and high school weekly e-blast for the past couple weeks. Sorry, it's under the STS HSP secondary HSP section of the weekly e-blast. Some items that will be covered in these meetings are Dr. Yannicone will give a district report, Dr. Rittenhouse and Mr. Fuller will give middle school and high school reports, the MPA will report about upcoming events, the 8th and 9th grade committees will report on upcoming events, and Ann Gozzard and Kim Brings will report on the update of the staff appreciation event that we are planning. And lastly, news specific just to the EHSP is that they will be hosting a dine and donate event at Scoochie's Restaurant on June 2nd. 10% of your bill will go to the EHSP. This includes dine-in and takeout orders. Please make sure that you tell your servers you are with the EHSP. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks so much, Julie. That's a mouthful. That's a lot of HSPs.
I know.
Yeah. So I'm happy to hear that everybody's going to be collaborating for the betterment of our students. Thanks. Reports and information. High school report, Madison Benoit.
This is a very busy township. Starting with Enfield, Dr. Marcos is over at the new principal at Enfield on May 3rd. During the last 2 weeks in April, they hosted kindergarten roundup, which let them meet most of their kindergarten students coming in. On May 3rd, they had their first assembly of the year virtually with Ned's Kindness Adventure. They started virtual gym classes for students who are at home. The second graders are now hatching their eggs and are waiting for their chicks to arrive. On May 21st, they had a ribbon cutting and library dedication for Dr. Hacker. And on May 28th, they will have their color day. Over at Erdenheim in April, their students and staff recognized their admin team. And they decorated the office with kindness messages and created a morning announcement video for Dr. McLaurin and Dr. Markle. They also hosted a virtual transition night for incoming third graders. And this week, the students in 3rd through 5th grade will also begin taking PSSA tests. Over at the middle school, the student council began broadcasting morning announcements. In April, the middle school students also finished their March Madness competition. They raised over 700 positive messages to uplift the community, over 500 toiletries and 250 snack food items, over 300 canned and boxed goods, and donated to local organizations. Mr. Shepard, the sixth grade homeroom, were the winners of that bracket. Their jazz band produced an impressive virtual performance of The Chicken by Alfred Ellis, which was shared with staff and students by Mr. Barlow. Seventh and eighth grade band released their virtual performance of The Green Best of the Green Day in April. The Middle School Drama Club presented their virtual showcase last weekend. And Mrs. Weissman's also recruiting talent show videos for their color day on June 11th. And finally, their day of service has been rescheduled for June 15th. At the high school, they will have Fun Friday with Fun in the Sun this Friday, where students will be able to spend half their day participating in outdoor games and activities of their choice. And on May 26th, they will have their junior and senior prom at the Fuge. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Madison. There's a lot of stuff going on here. Administrative report, Dr. Yamko.
Good evening. It's a pleasure to finally be able to attend a board meeting in person and to welcome members of the public in person. There are many things we have learned in the pandemic, and one is that some families and community members appreciate the opportunity to attend meetings virtually. We're happy to be able to offer tonight's meeting in a hybrid format. I want to thank Mr. Oliver, Mr. Thorne, Mr. Wexler, and Mr. Coughlin there in the corner for working out all the details so that we can be as accessible as possible in our new meeting format. Unfortunately, I need to report on the death of a staff member. On behalf of all of our district staff and students, I regret to share that Elizabeth Liz Landau passed away last week after a bout with cancer. Liz started working for us in August of 2000. She worked at Erdenheim and Enfield as an instructional assistant with our students with special needs, and then many years within our RTII MTSS program. We send our condolences to her husband, Ed, as well as her children. Both Liz and Ed are longtime residents of Orland. Next topic is the vaccination clinic last week. I'd like to thank Keystone Hospice, Dr. Lauren Davis, Mr. Joe Coughlin, and Mr. Craig Thorne for their work in organizing and assisting us in providing the first dose of the vaccine to students across the community, including students from public, parochial, and private schools last Thursday. Over 500 students are on their way to being fully vaccinated. Their second doses will be administered Thursday, June 3rd, and 2 weeks later, just in time for summer break, they will be safe to remove their masks and resume their normal lives. We are deeply grateful to Keystone staff who worked for 6 hours on a warm day in the sun to make sure our community continues to move towards greater health and safety. And on that note, on Friday afternoon, I sent a notice to all staff and families regarding changes to mitigation measures our administrative team is proposing following the series of informational updates in guidance provided by the CDC, the PA Department of Health, and the Montgomery County Office of Public Health over the past 2 weeks. As you will find in the proposed revised health and safety plan on the agenda for your consideration, we are recommending that face coverings continue to be required for staff and students at events and at school, both indoors and outdoors, as well as on school buses through June 18th with the following exceptions. Children may choose to remove masks when they arrive at recess outdoors. Children in physical education class may choose to remove masks when engaged in outdoor activities that require physical exertion. Children in interscholastic athletics may choose to remove masks when engaged in practice or competition outdoors that requires physical exertion. We recognize that many of us, including those seated at these tables, cannot wait to remove masks at work and school. However, because most of our K-12 students in the district are not vaccinated, and because we as a staff must model appropriate behavior for our students, we are recommending that we follow the guidance of PDE and maintain masks at school. According to PDE, remaining consistent in this approach will help to ensure the safety and well-being of school communities while minimizing disruptions that may result from significant revisions to existing plans and systems. We're also recommending the capacity limits at school events, whether indoor or outdoor, continue to support social distancing through June 18th in order to support our family members in feeling safe to attend and celebrate with our students. And finally, we will continue to contact trace and notify first-degree contacts in consultation with the Montgomery County Office of Public Health, and we will update the dashboard daily through June 18th, 2021. The next topic is the flexible instructional day application. On the agenda tonight, you are asked to consider approval of our application for flexible instructional days for 2021-2022. We're not yet certain whether PDE will offer flexibility in instructional models for next year, but they annually allow up to 5 school days to be flexible in the delivery model. We would like to utilize this option in the event of inclement weather or other district emergency, which will minimize the need to add days to the calendar next June 2022. I'd like to wish all of our students the best as they begin the PSSAs and Keystone exams over the next few weeks. Across 3rd through 11th grade, we had 157 opt-outs. I have conveyed to staff that our goal this year is to focus on individual achievement by students and to target areas for growth heading into next year. As always, students are to be commended for giving their best effort to demonstrate their learning on these and every assessment. It's playoff season in high school athletics, and we have several teams participating. On Tuesday, May 18th, our girls lacrosse team will host Upper Moreland at home in Spartan Stadium at 4 o'clock. On Wednesday, May 19th, the boys lacrosse team travels to Westchester Ruston at 7 p.m. On Friday, we have several students representing us in field events at the District 1 Track and Field Championships. And looking ahead, our baseball team anticipates a first-round game next Tuesday, May 25th, with a strong potential to host the game. The official opening for Enfield Elementary will take place this Friday at 9:15 on the steps of the new building. Local community representatives will join the board and administration, along with staff and children from our new school, in cutting the ribbon and celebrating our beautiful new primary school campus. The event will be recorded and shared with the community via email and on our website. And summer planning, as of this morning, we have 363 students registered for our Spartan Academies being offered this summer to assist students in closing learning gaps that may have occurred during the pandemic. We are very happy with the response we have received, which includes 166 students at Enfield, 138 at Erdenheim, 75 at the middle school, 19 in the 9th grade transitional program, and 12 for high school credit recovery. In addition, we will host our extended school year program for 45 students who qualify under the federal requirements. And finally, tonight, our Spartan Spotlight is on our music department, who have been simply amazing in the ways they've engaged students and continued programming through the pandemic. It's my pleasure to introduce Mr. Chuck Gottesman virtually, our music coordinator, who will introduce us to his team and to our special guests. Mr. Gottesman, I believe you are unmuted.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and members of the board. Thank you so much for recognizing the accomplishments of the music department this evening. Mr. Kelly, our representative from Zeswitz Music, is going to be acknowledging our 8th consecutive award of the best communities for music education. Unfortunately, he works with many different school districts, and he's kind of juggling being in 2 places at once. So he had to step out for just a moment. So before I introduce Mr. Kelly, allow me to introduce the very, very talented members of our music teaching staff at Springfield. I'll start down at Enfield Elementary with Karen Kesavara Manujam. Karen, wave hello. And Karen joins us this year as a part-time teacher, and I'm very, very pleased to say that she'll be joining us full-time as the Enfield music teacher next year. At Erdenheim Elementary, we have Mr. Rob Benton, who teaches our instrumental students, and Mr. Lawson, Mr. Tyler Lawson, who teaches our general music classes and our choral students. So Mr. Lawson and Mr. Benton, thank you. And from the middle school, we have Mr. Matt Barlow and Mrs. Amy Benton. Matt teaches our instrumental students at the middle school, and Mrs. Benton teaches our choral students and our general music courses. And 2 very familiar faces around our middle school. And last but not least, at the high school, Mr. Andrew Puntel teaches all of our choral students at the high school, and also teaches guitar lab and theater courses as well. So I just want to tip my hat, my virtual hat, to all of the great music teachers in Springfield. And I just do want to say thank you very, very much for continuing to support music in Springfield. I put together a lovely presentation. I think it's lovely, if I pat myself on the back for a moment. So I'd like to share it with you, and hopefully after I share it with you, maybe Mr. Kelly will be back in the meeting and he can talk about that Best Communities Award. Is it okay to share that video now, folks?
Go for it.
Okay, thank you.
I'm just gonna go around so I can show you.
Thorne, can we dim the lights?
Hello, my name is Chuck Gottesman, and I proudly serve the School District of Springfield Township as the K-12 Curriculum Coordinator for Music. Over the past 27 years, I've seen many changes at Springfield, but nothing as profound as the discord that the COVID-19 pandemic has created over the last 14 months. However, one thing has remained constant. Our students are just as dedicated now as they were then, and we've seen resilience and ingenuity that we never expected. As the 100th day of school passed in February 2020, it was a typical year for students in the SDST music department. As our youngest students developed their love and understanding of music at Old Enfield, the new building was still under construction, and the students at Erdenheim were discovering music with recorders, voices, and instruments. At the middle school, our combined chorus was a prize winner for B101's Holiday Music Contest, and the students had performed a remarkable winter concert and were preparing for their spring festivals. Pressing into early March, the PMEA and Montco Band festivals were complete for our high school musicians, and our thespians closed a wildly successful run of Legally Blonde. The Spartans were lucky, because many schools in the area had not reached these milestones when COVID-19 shut our doors on Thursday, March 12th. Like all professional educators, our department banded together and formulated plans to inspire and nourish our music students by employing techniques and technology that we had never experienced. As our confidence grew, our resilient students thrived, and the class of 2020 made the best of a trying time and accepted their diplomas at a virtual ceremony in June with smiles and pride.
After lengthy meetings, 2 area school districts voted on plans to start the school year. The Springfield School District in Montgomery County approved an all-virtual start, while Radnor's school district...
Fast forward to September 2020. Our schools are fully virtual, but our experienced teachers have spent the summer developing creative ways to be the online music educators we knew we could be. Our team put together a wish list for technology that would give our music students the best online learning experience. Dr. Yannicone, Mr. Oliver, and the brilliant district tech staff took our wish list and applied for grant monies to purchase these items, including powerful new computers for professional level video production, classroom instruments that could be sanitized safely after use, and software subscriptions for all of our classes. Not a single request was denied, and our music teachers were soon equipped with the best tools for the job at hand. As our confidence in teaching virtually grew during the fall, it was time for our next challenge as students would return to school in a hybrid format. As winter turned to spring, we adapted quickly to the new normal. In the beautiful new music room in our brand new Enfield Elementary, Mrs. Kesavaramanujam's kindergarten and second graders make connections between science and sound. Here they explore rhythm using the music of John Williams with pool noodle lightsabers. I join the Enfield team at the end of each day to share my love and understanding of music with the first graders. Here the students use boomwhackers to perform an arrangement of When the Saints Go Marching In. At Erdenheim, Mr. Benton has the monumental challenge of providing fourth grade students with their very first instrument lessons on Zoom, while Mr. Lawson teaches rhythm and movement concepts in his general music classroom. You can see how he is engaging the students on Zoom while maintaining the focus of the students in the classroom. To maintain social distancing, Mrs. Benton took her show on the road, and our middle schoolers took her general music classes in their own classrooms. Both Mr. Barlow and Mrs. Benton put their new tech tools to good use as they prepare virtual concerts with their STMS bands and choirs. At the high school, Mr. Puntel and I teach beginner and advanced guitar lab courses, and Mr. Puntel and Mrs. Thornton co-teach Broadway music ensemble. The STHS choirs and bands continue to produce remarkable virtual content from student submissions. Through Springfield's steadfast commitment to music education, our K-12 students have created beautiful music in our curricular and extracurricular offerings throughout the COVID-19 pandemic. Springfield's tremendous support of the performing arts is the reason our comparatively small district has been recognized for the last 8 years as one of the best communities for music education in the United States by the NAM Foundation. We are proud to welcome Enfield educator Karen Kesavaramanajam as a full-time member of our music faculty for next year, and we are grateful to the district for supporting the growth and expansion of our department even during such uncertain times. On Monday, June 7th, our students will be presenting a socially distanced music night in the high school stadium featuring performances from our middle school and high school ensembles. I hope you will join us for the Hootenanny and check out our upcoming virtual concerts. Thank you, Springfield, and be well. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed our little spotlight video, and I believe that'll be available for anyone in the district to check out on our website. And we have some students with us this evening. Typically, at this school board meeting in May, we recognize the students who participated in PMEA Band Fest and Song Fest and our middle school and high school level Montco bands. Unfortunately, those activities didn't take place this year, but we had several students at the high school level who participated in the PMEA District Chorus Festival. So I'll turn it over to our high school choral director, Mr. Andrew Puntel. And Mr. Puntel can introduce those students and recognize their accomplishments.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gottesman. It is a pleasure to be here this evening to introduce these distinguished students who have achieved the highest echelon of performance in this, our District 11 of Pennsylvania Music Educators Association. Watching that footage, it was quite emotional to see that these very same students were involved in the heart of this festival, which we hosted here at Springfield just right before the pandemic, last January 2020. And that they remained faithful and carried the torch through these uncertain times by participating in a very different way. However, the conversation remained the same. And I want to thank every one of these students for participating from the depth of their musicality. We were able to have great conversations, and there were great growth that came out of this process for the students that will be recognized tonight, and for those that did not make it into District 11, but still put in the work and did the audition. The following students are honored with the distinction of District 11 Pennsylvania Music Educators Association Chorus 2021. First, we have alto Caitlin Beecham. And bass Trey DuBose. Alto Simran Jain. And finally, alto, Annika Peterson. Thank you very much.
Well, I'm glad to report, ladies and gentlemen, that Mr. Kelly from Zeswitz Music is back in our Zoom meeting. And it is very difficult to be in two places at once. We are all very familiar with that whole process. So, Mr. Kelly, thank you for rejoining us. I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Gottesman. Good evening, members of the board, parents, staff members, students, and anybody else that may be on this call. My deepest apologies, but I'm so excited to be here once again. Dr. Yannicone, Dr. Hacker and I have been doing this for many, many years. I think this is year 7 in a row that I've had the opportunity to present to the School District of Springfield Township, the best communities for music education. I work very closely with your staff, and I tell you what, they are the best. But it doesn't come without the support of the parents, the support of the administration, and it all comes together for this Best Communities for Music Education Award. A little bit of background about this particular accolade. They don't tell you how many people applied. At least this year, I could not find it. The NAM Foundation started this program about 20 years ago, where school districts across the country could apply through a lengthy application process. And Mr. Gottesman will tell you how in depth it is. It's 32 pages of pure pleasure. And he enjoys doing it, I could tell. But again, it's just not a apply and you get this particular accolade. It goes into asking questions about performance opportunities and catching Mr. Puntel and the PMEA, the fests and festivals, whether it's band or chorus. The opportunities that Springfield Township provides to the students is unbelievable. Rehearsal space, funding to actually purchase materials. I know that the staff was going through a virtual concert thing. Unbelievable that the district was willing to provide the tools and technology for them in this pandemic to actually produce what they can. All of those things are part and parcel. Now, I will tell you that only 686 school districts across the country were awarded this. Last year, there were 5,812 school districts that applied. This is just not a apply and you get in. It's evaluated by Kansas University, independent from the NAM Foundation, which, by the way, is the National Association of Music Merchants. And again, it's a true testament to what the district provides to the students going forward. So it's an honor to be here once again. Congratulations. It's kudos to you. Even in the crazy times that we're in, these folks really step up, and it's by your support from the parents, the administration, and the teachers, and ultimately the students who do a bang up job. So congratulations, School District of Springfield Township, on being awarded the Best Communities for Music Education 7 years running in the year 2021. So congratulations.
Thank you so much. And Mr. Gottesman, I'm looking at the screen, but now I'm looking at the computer to see if I can find your face so I can look at you. So I want to just thank all the members of the music department. They are great. They are outstanding. They are the very best. What they have been able to produce in the last 15 months is extraordinary. And I think that the growth of our students, there's a lot of talk out there about learning loss and not a lot about learning growth. And I think this is an example in the music department, as you had at the theater program 2 weeks ago, that our students have learned and our staff have learned instructional tools, instructional models that they would not have learned were it not for the pandemic. And so I can't quite say I'm grateful for the pandemic, but I will say that I am very grateful for our music department and very grateful for the recognition which goes all kudos to those people on the screen right there. The Brady Bunch of our music department, all right? Thank you so much. And Mr. Garrison, thank you for that video.
Thank you. Thank you all so much. I hope as we become able to interact more as a community, I hope that you'll join us for all of our concerts and our presentations. I appreciate your kudos and your thanks so much. And I know I speak for all the other members of the department as well, but it really comes down to our students and parents and families who are so dedicated, who put in all of the time at home and really make us look good. So thank you to all of our music families out there, and thank you, School District of Springfield Township.
Thanks, Mr. Gottesman. Thank you so much to the music faculty and our students. If you've ever been in a Zoom session, you know how hard it is to be on a Zoom session, let alone play an instrument or sing on camera. So I really give our students a lot of credit for all the work that they've done. Okay, so we can, is there anything else on the?
No, that concludes my report.
Concludes the report, okay. Great. All right, so let's move on to new business. Personnel, which is in the personnel attachment. The Board of School Directors approves the following personnel as presented in the attachment: support personnel, temporary personnel, extended school year program personnel, and extra pay for extra responsibilities 2021 to 2022. Is there a motion?
Motion.
And a second?
Second.
Any comments or questions?
Mr. Bedard.
Aye.
Mr. DeFranco.
Aye.
Ms. Jordan.
Aye.
Mr. Lapidus.
Aye.
Mr. Needleman.
Aye.
Ms. Sarsfield.
Aye.
Ms. Lipinski.
Aye.
Dr. Taratuski.
Aye. Number 2, smart boards. The Board of School Directors approves the purchase and installation agreement for 63 smart boards with visual sound in the amount of $281,282 pending final legal review. Is there a motion?
Motion.
And a second?
Second.
Any comments or questions? I did. Mr.
Sorry, I
Needleman?
did have just one question. I didn't see it in the materials in the attachment. Is it just pending legal review? Is there an issue that needs to be worked out or
No,
just,
standard practices, all contracts are reviewed by legal.
that's what I thought. Okay, great, thanks.
And just a question about the smart boards. Would these be new smart boards? Are they replacing existing smart boards?
They are replacing existing smart boards. We had intended to do this work a year ago and delayed, as you know, as a result of the pandemic. And at this time, they are well beyond their usable life. Our teachers are now ready for the next level.
Any other comments or questions? Ms. Michaels?
Mr. Bedard.
Aye.
Mr. DeFranco.
Aye.
Ms. Jordan.
Aye.
Mr. Lapidus.
Aye.
Mr. Needleman.
Aye.
Ms. Sarsfield.
Aye.
Ms. Lipinski.
Aye.
Dr. Taratuski.
Aye. Number 3, KidView Inc. Days Off. The Board of School Directors approves the KidView Inc. Days Off proposal for the 2021-2022 school year as per the attached attachment M. Is there a motion?
Motion.
And a second?
Second.
Any comments or questions? Ms. Michaels?
Mr. Bedard.
Aye.
Mr. DeFranco.
Aye.
Ms. Jordan.
Aye.
Mr. Lapidus.
Aye.
Mr. Needleman.
Aye.
Ms. Sarsfield.
Aye.
Ms. Lipinski.
Aye.
Dr. Taratuski.
Aye. Number 4, flexible instructional days. The Board of School Directors approves the plan for flexible instructional days for 2021-2022 school year to be submitted to the PA Department of Education. Is there a motion?
Motion.
And a second? Second. Any comments or questions? The question that everyone has is, does this mean there are no more snow days for students?
They will have creative snow days.
Creative.
We'll call that next week in some form.
Any other comments or questions? Ms. Michaels?
Mr. Bedard.
Aye.
Mr. DeFranco.
Aye.
Ms. Jordan.
Aye.
Mr. Lapidus.
Aye.
Mr. Needleman.
Aye.
Ms. Sarsfield.
Aye.
Ms. Lipinski.
Aye.
Dr. Taratuski.
Aye. Number 5, health and safety plan. Board of School Directors approves the revised health and safety plan for the school district of Springfield Township. Is there a motion
Motion.
and a second?
Second.
Any comments or questions? Ms. Michaels?
Mr. Bedard,
Aye.
Mr. DeFranco,
Aye.
Ms. Jordan,
Aye.
Mr. Lapidus,
Aye.
Mr. Needleman,
Aye.
Ms. Sarsfield,
Aye.
Ms. Lipinski,
Aye.
Dr. Taratusky.
Aye. Number 6, Athletics, Health and Safety Plan. The Board of School Directors approves the revised Athletics, Health and Safety Plan for the school district of Springfield Township. Is there a motion
Motion.
and a second?
Second.
Any comments or questions? Ms. Michaels?
Mr. Bedard,
Aye.
Mr. DeFranco,
Aye.
Ms. Jordan,
Aye.
Mr. Lapidus,
Aye.
Mr. Needleman,
Aye.
Ms. Sarsfield,
Aye.
Ms. Lipinski,
Aye.
Dr. Taratusky.
Aye. Number 7, Confidential Settlement and Release Agreement. The Board of School Directors approves the confidential settlement and release agreement for student 202-10517-01. Is there a motion
Motion.
and a second?
Second.
Any comments or questions? Okay, Ms. Michaels?
Mr. Bedard,
Aye.
Mr. DeFranco,
Aye.
Ms. Jordan,
Aye.
Mr. Lapidus,
Aye.
Mr. Needleman,
Aye.
Ms. Sarsfield,
Aye.
Ms. Lipinski,
Aye.
Dr. Taratusky.
Aye. Number 8, acceptance of donation. The Board of School Directors accepts with gratitude a donation from the Giant Company to support the food service program in the amount of $16,544.27. Is there a motion
Motion.
and a second? Second. Any comments or questions?
Mr. Bedard,
Aye.
Mr. DeFranco,
Aye.
Ms. Jordan,
Aye.
Mr. Lapidus,
Aye.
Mr. Needleman,
Very grateful. Aye.
Ms. Sarsfield,
Aye as well.
Ms. Lipinski,
Aye.
Dr. Taratusky.
Aye. Number 9, Plan Con K. The Board of School Directors approves Plan Con K project financing for the district's general obligation bond series of 2021. Is there a motion
Motion.
and a second?
Second.
Any comments or questions?
I have one question. I didn't see this in as an attachment, and I may have missed it. Was that, there's supposed to be an attachment in the board docs or?
No,
think so.
Okay,
I can
just
provide-
curious.
I
Would
can
you like
provide-
some information?
I'd like to just read up on them just to,
I can,
you know.
I can forward, it's a pretty lengthy document, so.
it'll probably be.
And can you just briefly explain what Plan Con is? And-
Sure, PlanCon is a program through the state that reimburses for approved projects, for facility projects. This PlanCon K is a refunding. So there was a project that we had done, we had originally funded with a previous bond. We had just recently in January refunded that bond. So that's part of the process, that when you do refund those bonds for that project, you have to submit PlanCon K to show that you did do a refunding and submit the appropriate documentation to the state.
And that overview is perfect. That's all I need.
Okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Are there any other comments or questions from the board? Ms. Michaels?
Mr. Bedard,
Aye.
Mr. DeFranco,
Aye.
Ms. Jordan,
Aye.
Mr. Lapidus,
Aye.
Mr. Needleman,
Aye.
Ms. Sarsfield,
Aye.
Ms. Lipinski,
Aye.
Dr. Taratusky.
Aye. Number 10, annual renewal of sports and student accident insurance policies. The Board of School Directors approves the purchase of the following insurance policies from Axis Insurance Company through All Risks LTD for the 2021-2022 school year, which reflects no increase from the 2020-2021 premium. Number 1, accident and health coverage at an annual cost of $6,355. And number 2, catastrophic accident coverage at an annual cost of $500. Is there a motion
Motion.
and a second?
Second.
Any comments or questions? Ms. Michaels?
Mr. Bedard,
Aye.
Mr. DeFranco,
Aye.
Ms. Jordan,
Aye.
Mr. Lapidus,
Aye.
Mr. Needleman,
Aye.
Ms. Sarsfield,
Aye.
Ms. Lipinski,
Aye.
Dr. Taratusky.
Aye. Number 11, elevator service agreement. The Board of School Directors approves Excel Elevator and Escalator Company who was recently acquired by Brandywine Elevator to perform all work associated with the district-wide annual preventative maintenance service agreement in the amount of $4,232. Is there a motion?
Motion.
And a second?
Second.
Any comments or questions?
Mr. Bedard?
Aye.
Mr. DeFranco?
Aye.
Ms. Jordan?
Aye.
Mr. Lapidus?
Aye.
Mr. Needleman?
Aye.
Ms. Sarsfield?
Aye.
Ms. Lipinski?
Aye.
Dr. Taratuski?
Aye. Number 12, Synovia Solutions Contract Renewal. The Board of School Directors approves the 5-year lease renewal with Synovia Solutions for school bus onboard navigation, diagnostic software, and hardware at an annual cost of $33,696, subject to final solicitor contract review and approval. Is there a motion?
Motion.
And a second?
Second.
Any comments or questions? Ms. Michaels?
Mr. Bedard?
Aye.
Mr. DeFranco?
Aye.
Ms. Jordan?
Aye.
Mr. Lapidus?
Aye.
Mr. Needleman?
Aye.
Ms. Sarsfield?
Aye.
Ms. Lipinski?
Aye.
Dr. Taratuski?
Aye. And at this time, we will have public comments on non-agenda items. I don't know if anyone in the meeting in person signed up. Do you have anything? Did I look that up?
It's still on the table.
Okay.
I do believe there
Dr. Johnson's going to check
Thank
for
you.
us.
Thank you. And so at this time, if anyone who is on virtually would like to speak and be heard during public comment on non-agenda items, then if you could please raise your hand and let me know where you reside in the township. Okay?
The lady with the blue face mask on.
Did you want to speak? Okay, thanks.
Yeah, there are some questions on the sign-in sheet that people printed. I bring them to you.
Yeah, sure. Let's give that to Dr. Taratuski. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right. So I don't know who has the questions. Could you just tell us your name?
Sure. Hi, I'm Susan Whitney. I live in Wimore on Patton Road.
Okay.
And in the fall, it's possible that I will have 5 children throughout the 3 schools, the 2 elementaries and the 1 middle school.
Okay.
May I ask a quick question first? I have 3 different questions. Should I pick one and then, like, should I go in priority or will I have time to ask all 3?
So generally, it's a comment period. If you have a question that you'd like to ask, we'll be happy to take that. And if we can answer it factually, if there's information we can provide, we'll be happy to do that. Otherwise, we can get back to you with some of that information.
So my first question, well, my first comment, thank you for approving the revised health and safety plans with 5 children who do soccer and track and other sports. As a mom, I see how difficult it is throughout their games as the weather's getting hotter and more humid for them to breathe well. And so as a mom, I'm grateful that you guys approved the revised plan. So thank you. My first question is about Erdenheim. I have a child in Enfield who I see on the playground. He's allowed to go on the playground equipment. But my 5th grader tells me that they're not allowed to use the playground equipment. And I was wondering why that is, or is my 5th grader just not giving me the full story?
You can answer. Okay.
Sure. Dr. McLaurin is going to be sending out revised recess guidelines to families. He hasn't done so already. It should be in the next day or so. He was waiting for the approval of the health and safety plan. But to my knowledge, the children have been on the playground equipment, just based on my drive-by. But
On
I
the
can
actual
double-check
play
that.
structures?
I believe so.
Okay.
I'll double check that, but when I visited, I believe I've seen the children on the structures.
Okay.
But I can ask him to reach out to you to clarify that for you,
I
but he is
can-
providing revised guidelines.
Okay, I
in the
can
next day
email.
or
him. Thank
so.
you very much.
Sure.
My second question was with regard to the Spartan Summer Academy. Is that being planned to be staffed by teachers from Springfield Township School District?
Yes.
Okay. And then my last question, the email that we received from the elementary administrative team, I guess a week ago, and then the follow-up email from you, Dr. Yannicone, saying that parents can expect information regarding the fall of 2021 in August. Myself and a fair number of my Patton Road resident friends are kind of disheartened at that. Is there any way that you can share any tentative plans that are in place for in-person, full-time traditional instruction? Because there's a lot of speculation going around that it might not be 5 days. There may still be an asynchronous day in there. And so if you could, whatever clarification, whatever information you can give on the tentative plans that are in place, I'd appreciate that.
I'd be happy to. Sure. Yeah, please, I'd be happy to dispel any rumors. It's our intention to be open 5 days a week, no asynchronous days in September. September 9th is our first day of school. It is my hope that we will, I'll applaud that. That's a good thing, right? After 15 months.
We're happy about that. Absolutely.
It is my hope, and but I can't say for certain that we will have everybody unmasked and all activities at full capacity again. But right now, neither the local Office of Public Health nor the Pennsylvania Department of Health will state that that is the plan for September. So the reason why I shared in my letter that it would be early August is that I'm hopeful that they will have made a decision prior to when some school districts start, which is prior to the Labor Day weekend. But if you're asking me what would I like, I would like 5 days in person, synchronous, unmasked, full activity, full capacity.
Can I just do a follow-up question with regard to the Spartan Summer Academy? If it's possible to be held outdoors, outdoor classrooms, would the children be able to be unmasked?
It's a good question. We are hopeful that the Office of Public Health will be providing us some better guidance in the next few weeks. To be frank, we had a flurry of changes to guidance in the last 10 days, as I put in my letter. And even the CDC is now sort of waffling on what they're recommending, and said they'll be providing updated guidance to schools in the near future. The Office of Public Health is asking for a little bit of time to provide us updated guidance for the summer months. And so we're hopeful that we will have as much time outside and unmasked as possible. Yeah, again, like the goal would be to be as soon as we can do it, as safely as possible. We also want to make sure that families feel safe and comfortable sending their children to school in July and August. And so we'll keep that in mind as we're factoring those decisions.
Thank you.
Sure. Thank you. Is there anyone on the virtual meeting that would like to speak this evening? You can use the hand raise feature. Jim Daly?
Good evening, Jim Daly, Pen Oak Road.
Hi, Jim. How are you?
Hi, how are you?
Good.
I just had a little confusion with respect to the playground equipment. My daughter goes to Erdenheim, and my understanding is they are not permitted to play on the playground equipment. So I would ask the superintendent, what was the instructions provided today prior to this meeting with respect to playground equipment, and what they cannot do maskless in the play area?
So,
yeah, that's fine. I was actually just going to see if Mr. McLaurin or Dr. McLaurin
Oh,
would
yeah.
speak to it. So he is on virtually. So
yeah, I can ask Dr. McLaurin. Thank you for that. I can ask Dr. McLaurin to answer it specifically. But pending tonight's vote of the board, the principals were asked not to do anything, not to change anything. After the vote, then the intention was that they would communicate changes tomorrow and confirm all of that with the teachers on Wednesday and implement starting Thursday. Prior to this, with regard to the playground equipment, I'll ask Dr. McLaurin to confirm whether or not the children were able to use that prior and what his intentions are for moving forward now that the vote's been taken.
Well, if I could follow up, I guess the confusion is that my child comes home with instructions from school today about what she can and cannot do tomorrow. And I don't understand how that happens before you vote tonight. That's my comment, question, however you want to take it.
okay,
My
we'll try to clarify that, Jim.
Okay, I mean, I think it's confusing to the students because my understanding was there was no vote until tonight.
Mhm.
She comes home today with a list of what she can and cannot do in the playground area. So,
Okay.
my next question would be, at last meeting, I requested an answer, a clarification of what the cost per child student was in the township.
Mhm.
I've done my own Google research. I've done look at some reports and whatnot. I have a number,
Mhm.
but I guess it's been a few weeks. My question was, what is the cost to teach or cost to educate a student in the township, a regular full-time student in class, not virtual, not cyber? So I would ask for that answer tonight. It's been a few weeks. It's available on the internet. So could that be explained to the residents of the township?
Absolutely.
Sure.
Mr. Daly, we posted that answer, I believe, the day following the meeting.
Okay,
We had all of the online questions and answers turned into a document that we posted on our website. I'll ask Mrs. Michaels if she can verify that for you with the answer we provided.
tonight.
Yes, yeah, right now. She's
I'm sorry.
pulling it up. Absolutely.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's our intention, I mean, for the public at large who's attending the meeting in person or virtually, that we will answer any questions if we need to go back and get data, and we will have that posted within 24 hours.
That's
If it
terrific.
takes us longer, then we'll let you know that it's taking us a little longer if it requires some research. But your question, Mr. Daly, at the last meeting was a straightforward one, and we were able to incorporate that onto the posting the next day. Might also be worthwhile to let people know where that is, so they can find it.
Dr. Unicun, if I can also speak to the recess questions that came up during the meeting, if that's all right.
Thanks, Dr. McLaurin.
Sure. So-
Yeah, I'm going to have, Dr. McLaurin, I'm going to have Ms. Michaels answer first, and then we can have you go back and talk about recess.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
So in relation to the question that was asked by Mr. Daly, the Springfield Township School District non-resident tuition rates for elementary students is $12,515.63. And for secondary students, that's $16,328.83 per year.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Can you also clarify where that information will be found on the website?
Sure, I'll find exactly where it's posted. It is on the website, but I will clarify exactly where.
Okay, I just would like to be able to do that so people know where to find the answers the next day.
Absolutely.
Are you okay if Dr. McLaurin?
Sure.
So Dr. McLaurin, why don't you go ahead and answer the question about recess?
Sure. So Mr. Daly, just to share with you, families should have received an email from me about 8 o'clock or so this evening. I did share an updated plan regarding recess, just because we wanted to make sure that as this motion was passed, that as we came into school tomorrow, our students would have some consistency in terms of messaging. And so the message states that beginning tomorrow, our students will be able to make the decision to go outside at recess and unmask with respect to the decision that they decide to make with their families, as we want to recognize that there are some families who still need to, and some students who may still choose to wear their masks. We did provide that freedom of flexibility for students to choose beginning tomorrow. The plan also details on Thursday, just to give us time to prepare, to begin to allow our students to begin to utilize our recess equipment. And we're going to provide some structured games that students can play with, just to make sure that we can continue to keep students safe. For example, soccer or frisbee toss, and some basketball activities and kickball are things that we're going to make sure that we can have in place for our students who'd like to participate. We will be able to sanitize this equipment in between recess time so that we can try to make sure we can keep all of our students safe. So that information would share with families this evening, just because we felt like once this motion was passed this evening, our students may come to school tomorrow not certain of what to do. So we wanted to be clear where we're going to go for tomorrow and the rest of the week. Prior to that announcement, we did not allow for our students to engage on any of our recess equipment, in part because we wanted to make sure that we were doing our best to keep all of our students safe. But also, too, we have the flexibility because we have a lot more space than infield does. We were able to use our high school tennis courts, and we have a pretty big blacktop where we're able to keep all of our students safely spaced, and they were able to do some structured activities outside. Our lunch recess staff and our support staff did a great job at trying to create some fun and exciting ways for students to get engaged, as well as give choice. But obviously, after a few months of that, our students, they want to be more creative at that time. And so the passing of our updated health and safety plan was timely for our students, as well as our ability to be flexible in making some changes to our plan beginning this week.
Okay, so that was posted tonight at 8 o'clock.
That was posted tonight at 8 o'clock, and I did share it with our staff just because I wanted to make sure that they knew that the vote was happening tonight, and if it were being passed, I wanted them to have an understanding of what was going to be communicated to families this evening. So they did receive that information with the caveat that if this did pass, here is what this is the direction that we're going to go in for the rest of this week and some changes moving forward.
Okay, so I'm clear. If a child is in the play area outside and they are unmasked, and whatever that family choice is there any direction going to be to the child, or are they free to unmask? Or is there any type of, for lack of a better word, discipline if they don't adhere to policy for the mask?
No discipline at all. It's certainly student choice. And in fact, we asked for families to have some conversations with their children about what they would prefer. So when students go outside for recess, they have the option at that time to unmask. Our staff will continue to keep our students distant while they're outside, but the students will have that choice, as well as the families and students will have the chance to keep their masks on as well.
Thank you so much for that clarification.
No problem at all.
Thanks. Is there anyone else from the virtual audience that would like to make a comment this evening?
If you don't have anything virtual.
I don't have anyone virtually right now, so if you want to come and just state your name and where you live in the township.
Yeah, hi. I'm Kathy Trinkle, and I'm from Flowertown. I live on Sycamore Lane, and my daughter graduated here, so I am very grateful for the wonderful education that she received, especially the music teachers who I just love and adore. And I want to thank you for taking my comment tonight. I have concerns about an issue that many adults have been facing for the past several months about whether or not they have been vaccinated. I mean, it's the question of the day since January. Are you? Did you get it? And my concern is what is going to happen to the children whose parents have chosen not to vaccinate their children? How are they going to be treated? I want to make sure that they are going to be protected and not feel like an outcast in this school. And I would like to just make sure that, and it's pervasive across the whole country. It's not just here. It's an issue. People have the right to choose to vaccinate or choose not to vaccinate. And these children, they're children. Their parents are making that decision. And so it is no fault of their own whether they are or they are not. And my daughter came here and we had to bring in a whole document because she was on an inhaler. And so I would hope that in the future, there will never be any vaccinating in any school in this country without a parent's permission, ever. Thank you.
Thanks. Are there any other comments from the public on non-agenda items? Anyone in the virtual audience? I don't see any hands. Future meeting dates, there's an interim board meeting on Tuesday, June 1st, 2021 at 7 p.m. and that's a hybrid meeting. And there's a virtual school board, a regular school board meeting on Tuesday, June 15th at 7 p.m. That is also a hybrid meeting. Our board committees will remain virtual at this time. There is a property committee meeting Thursday, May 27th, 2021 at 8 a.m. That's a virtual meeting. A finance committee meeting Thursday, June 3rd, 2021 at 8 a.m. That is also a virtual meeting. And there will be an academic affairs committee meeting in June, which has not been scheduled yet. That will also be a virtual meeting. Okay. Thank you very much for attending, everyone online and everyone in person. Have a good evening. We're adjourned.